Jenny Mikakos is no longer the Minister for Health in Victoria. Indeed, she's the first casualty to fall in an inquiry that really should see more heads roll. There's a real stench emanating from government at the moment as this moribund affair continues to drag out. And there will be only losers and no winners in this affair. Just as Mikakos' sacking has long been overdue, it's been a bitter one too. For all of her failings, her ineptness and incompetence as the Minister for Health, the humiliation of her political execution was a distasteful performance by the Premier on so many levels. It really was an appalling display. The Premier himself must now resign, for he can no longer remain in office in good conscience. His conduct around COVID, the disruption to Victoria's economic future, the lies that he has perpetrated, and again, his contribution to those lives lost through his arrogance and mismanagement does require a royal commission. And the time has come for the Prime Minister to call for a royal commission into Victoria. Now, Jenny Mikakos was an incompetent minister. There's no disputing that. But she was way out of her depth and should never have been awarded the health portfolio. But she was, you see, and history will record that she was the minister who presided over more than 780 deaths. It's a sorry moniker that she will wear forever. By awarding Mikakos this crucial and powerful portfolio, factional politics won. It thought it had the right man or woman in a position of influence. But you see, factional politics and the unions have had way too much say in the running of this state. Jenny Mikakos will wear the eternal shame for her part in the destruction of Victoria and the loss of so many lives. There's a lot to be said about the way that Premier Andrews, his ministers, and senior bureaucrats have conducted themselves. The two words that best fit: disturbing and disgusting. Is there any wonder why politicians rate so poorly and are detested by so many? But the inquiry into the hotel quarantine has also served as a pretty stark lesson of expendability and a shameful exhibition of lies and shamelessness. As much as we at TheInformer have called for the sacking of Jenny Mikakos, at what point will Premier Daniel Andrews accept responsibility for his mismanagement of government and the COVID crisis? Because he should never have appointed Mikakos as the Minister for Health. It's as simple as that. And when he did see his ally, this critical minister, Mikakos, not living up to the job, he should have reassigned her immediately to another portfolio. And what did he do? Nothing. Instead, he allowed her to remain as the minister. He then watched her wallow and drown in a portfolio she was simply not up for. And it's cost Victoria dearly. Then he used her as a fall guy for both his and the government's incompetence. Love or hate Jenny Mikakos, that's a burden that she should never have had to shoulder on her own. And it's a burden that has the gutless men and women of the government continuing to lie about their involvement in an affair that really has hurt Victoria in a terrible way. When the blame surely sits on the Premier, Martin Pakula, Lisa Neville, Richard Wynne, Graham Ashton, Kim Peake, Brett Sutton, and of course, all those faceless bureaucrats. Our concern now should be with Jenny Mikakos' mental health. Incompetence doesn't mean being used as a sacrificial lamb for slaughter to protect a man and a government that has shown absolutely no loyalty. If anything, the Premier has continued to be deceptive. TheInformer has been critical of Mikakos and the Premier, and of course the government, for how they have managed to conduct themselves. And we stand by that criticism because it's important, especially now, for everyone to understand that regardless of who you vote for, the Premier does have blood on his hands. Being apolitical allows us to be critical of any party in power. By being so, we're not only the voice of the people, but we can also hold government to account. And when that stops, then so does everybody else's ability to be free. Mikakos should have gone long ago. Her exit was never, of course, going to be ceremonious or palatable. But there's something extremely distasteful about allowing someone to take the full brunt of their own negligence and incompetence. Because just as Jenny Mikakos was a key actor in this whole sordid affair, the Premier is equally complicit. And as he keeps on proudly telling everybody who will listen, the buck stops with him. Well, based on that premise, if that is the case, Premier, then you must resign.